Doesn't like a challenge. And yes, untrained, unqualified, techie video. Welcome to Mother's Day. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to tag more people, and we're going to give a few minutes because we're a little bit early. We are where? We're in Erie, PA at Mark's Sound Space. We moved locations last week. For people who watched the first 3, the Dallas Opera broadcast, and the first 2, we had a different backdrop. We were against a window. We're new to this. We figured out it was not good to have the light behind you. We moved into in the same room to another window. That's working much better. This is your 4th broadcast that planned, talking about doing more.
Yep, we're thinking about it. We're seeing what's going on happen. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, we'll take feedback. We're going to go back and look at all 4, see what you all say. Also, at some point, maybe not for next week if you do it next week, but we'll also be moving to Toronto. I will be going home for the first time since January at some point in the next, we don't know. It's a border thing. Canadian, American. Once we go across that border, I can't get back this side. You can get to that side because we're married.
Yep.
So, yes, so those changes will be happening with us. We hope you're all safe and hunkering down with all the people you love. And time.
Hey, hello. Mark Stephen Doss here. Marcus Doss coming to you from Erie, PA. The residence here, assisted nicely by my Canadian better half, Dawn. And so we're trying to do the continuing process of uplifting our souls, trying to uplift our souls with a little bit of spiritual music and some thoughts for the days that we're living in. We're still the difficult time of the pandemic, but this is Mother's Day. We're trying to pay tribute to my mom. Just passed on a little over a year ago. My mother-in-law, so very special people that happened to be the songs I'm going to sing for you today that were part of the services I did for them. So that's very special then. And also the mothers out there, give special tribute to you and the children that you've raised. So here we are. We're trying to deal with this pandemic. We're trying to give encouragement to those who are trying to deal with social distancing and continuing to flatten the curve and to even get lower than that. We have something like 44 states now in the U.S. that are reopening for business, and so we have to give our best efforts to them, our thoughts and prayers. More than just that, we have to make sure we continue to do our part. This is interesting. I came upon YouTube some things this week, and I stumbled upon We Are the World and how that's impacting us today. I mean, it's a sense of there are people dying. We're saving our own lives by doing what we need to do. That acceptance of responsibility that I think about when I think about one of my favorite books. Again, this is The World Less Traveled by Scott Peck. He talks about the 4 tools we need to solve all problems. Tools of discipline. Discipline being the one of which is the acceptance of responsibility. And certainly we do have a lot of responsibility in time to make sure that our fellow human beings don't get infected, even if we're asymptomatic, that we don't know it, we're wearing masks. I've seen recently people feeling like masks are difficult because they think they're being weak, they're showing some sign of weakness. And it's nothing at all like that. To the contrary, I think it's a sign of strength. It's a sign of taking responsibility for the possibility that you could be carrying something and not know it and spread it out to people. In the store just yesterday, I'm walking in and I got my mask on and I asked somebody for help and the guy's just more willing to say, oh sure, I'll give you some hand over here, and we get a little distance between us, but I can see he's more at ease, and that's a sense of empathy that I'm going to hit today, not just the acceptance of responsibility, because that is about us being really together in this fight, and so empathy is something I hit on because that's one of the virtues that is in one of my wonderful books, 20 teachable lessons of virtues that you can pass on to your children. I've looked through it a few times, and the first thing there, that first virtue is empathy, that ability to feel what another person is feeling, to empathize with them, to understand their feelings. And that's something that we'll stress a little bit more during this session. And so for that peace of mind that we're dealing with, again, I'm going to start out. We start out with the mind. We start out with this idea of concentrating very forthrightly on what we need to help other people, and then we will move on to a little bit of the body. I like the mind, the body. So as I get up every day, I have a sense of stretching, trying to stay in sync, trying to stay in balance. We have a wonderful book, Living a Balanced Life, by Elliot James. It's interesting sort of concepts of balancing. That's one of Scott Peck's tools, balancing. So as I do that, I just do a little bit of stretching every day. I start out with my shoulder going forward, and I start with the other shoulder going forward, and I'm coming back, and I come back, and I come back. So it's about stretching. We're going to do a little bit of stretching today. Maybe get off the weighted hula hoop for a bit, and something I can calm myself down as well. But the sense of Hapkido used to do with the wrists, with the thumb right in the back there, and going forward, and then it's again pushing out and pushing out. And then inside, we do the inside again. The thumb is back here, right in the middle of the hand, on both sides in the back. So that's a good stretch out. And the hands move around left and right, and then the other way as well. So that's a wonderful way to loosen up, the shoulders, then back and over the top. I do the same thing there, and that's good for me. And then I do a little bit of turning, 1, 2, 3, 4. I do a little bit of lower. And I've taken on these things through the times that I've done martial arts. I've done tennis, baseball, basketball, and even in my singing, there's specific things. We're at the waist section now, where the movement around. I remember there was somebody in Basel, Switzerland, that gave me sort of a nice plate. You got a plate on your hands, like the waiter. You take that plate, you cut it inside yourself, and you bring it back over top. Same thing with the other one. The plate's there. You cut inside yourself, and you move with that plate. You come to the other side. Really great stuff. Nice to loosen up. And as I had to do the bullfighting, that was really nice to get into the mood of that. And then I go down, to the lower parts and get a good stretch. My book on stretching gives the time stretch. We think time 5 seconds we start out, 10 seconds, a little bit of a hold into the bottom. It's always nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enough time for me to get my solfeggio in sometimes. Do, re, mi, fa, fi, sol, si, la, di, do, re, do, ti, fa, re, mi, fa, fi, sol, si, la, di, do, re, mi, re, do, so, mi, fa, fi, sol, si, la, di, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, la, fa, mi, re, la, di, de, la, re, so, fa, mi, fa, re, do, and I'm there. So that's a little bit on the bottom, and then I do some of my martial arts kicks. Okay, I'm only gonna get a couple for you, because I want to make sure that when I'm going out to the right, I'm going to focus out to the left. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to focus out to the left. I'm going to go right out, focus out to the left. So I'm going to kick out to my left. I'm going to focus out to the right side. So I have some balance, always nice balance. And I do one through back, so like a ski, straight out, and that's a nice one. Then on my side kicks, really great. Just one, I get a little balance here to the right side. I'm kicking out left. I do the same thing here. 1, a little bit higher there, and 2. So that's a great way to stay the balanced way. And I'm done with that. Now I usually would pick up a hula hoop after that. So with that hula hoop, I move around. I'm not going to use it today, but I'm going to give you the idea. Again, when I say I can do my Pilates with a hula hoop, it's moving around me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, keep going to 100, get my 100, and I get my Alexander pulling up through the top of my head, and I go both ways, one way or the other. I did some flamenco training the same way, so we get a little bit of that as you're moving around, bringing the head straight up. That's my physical workout for the day. Trying not to perspire too much, keep you cool, keep me cool, and we're all cool as we can be. And then we move on to the spiritual world, and that's where we're going to connect into some songs today. Songs are talking about empathy. The first of which is Jesus Loves Me, and that's a wonderful song. It's put together by a lady named Warner. Her sister put together words, actually, Anna. This was Susan was her sister, put together words for a poem. Just to comfort a child who's dying, and put that into music. And then a guy named Bradbury took the same thing and he added some a refrain to it. Yes, Jesus loves me. So the basic part of it is just Jesus loves me, Jesus loves me. He put another tune to it and give it that refrain. Yes, Jesus loves me. Fantastic. Some 1 Corinthians 6:19. It talks about this ability to understand what is Jesus loves me. Jesus loves me. There's actually a stained glass window in Westville, Ohio, that has a Jesus loves me stained glass window in St. Paul's Church, and it's in the angel room. So how poignant is that? I haven't seen it yet. I have to go and see it. But again, this is very poignant because Yes, Jesus Loves Me was a song that my mom used to sing a lot, very meekly and mildly. My grandmother used to sing it very forthright. Yes, Jesus loves me. But it's something that caught on and went around the world. Actually, became one of the most famous hymns around the world, and very special, most especially for children. This has been Yes, Jesus Loves Me, maybe one of the first songs that they learned. So, when I reflect on this again, I sang it for my mom's memorial service a year ago, and I give her tribute today, and again I tribute all the other moms here. So this is going to be Yes, Jesus Loves Me. This is an arrangement by Roosevelt Andre Credit. Fantastic arrangement he's put together, and hope you enjoy that. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. We are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so. Jesus loves me, he who died heaven's gate to open wide. He will wash away my sin. Let his little child come in. Let his little child come in. Yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, Jesus loves me, for the Bible tells me so. Jesus loves me still, though I'm very weak and ill. From his shining throne on high comes to watch me where I lie. Jesus, take this heart of mine, make it pure and wholly thine. Thou hast bled and died for me, I will henceforth live for thee. Thou hast bled and died for me, I will henceforth live for thee. Oh yes, Jesus loves me. Oh yes, Jesus loves me. Oh yes, Jesus loves me. For the Bible tells me so. For the Bible tells, oh That's Jesus loves me. Yeah. So, I want to give a greeting to all of those out there who maybe just a little later. We just sang, we just did Jesus Loved Me by as an arrangement by Roosevelt Andre Credit. And hopefully you enjoyed that, those who have joined us. So I'm going to move on to a piece, this is an arrangement by Mark Hayes, which is the Gospel of Grace. And again, we need as much grace as we can get these days. Certainly grace to all the first responders, grace to the healthcare workers, grace to all of us who are continuing this fight, wearing the mask, social distancing. I saw in Amsterdam, now they have these cubicles made out of glass where they're having for restaurants. You have to be a part of that same family, I guess, that live in the same household, but you can get into these cubicles and the waiter hands you the food inside the cubicle and then you dine out. So, that's a way that people are being inventive and trying to come up with ideas that allow us to continue to, be safe, but at the same time balance out what we want to do as far as being a part of the somewhat normal world that we're used to. So in this sense of the Gospel of Grace, a guy named Newman put together this tune, sea captain. He was actually a slave, shipman there, and he heard this sort of tune coming from the hull, and he put together this melody. But he found the words in his inspiration because he had a big storm that came up, and the crew really frightened, and he had this moment of revelation that he should be doing something different, and he gave up the slaving and being a captain and became minister, and fought very much for rights of those who were not as empowered, and so he came up with these wonderful words that amazing grace, how sweet the sound. And then Mark Hayes put together a spiritual with that, which is I'm newborn again. And this is the wonderful thing about him. I misquoted earlier. This is the Corinthians. They're talking about Nicodemus coming to Christ and saying that, what is this thing about being born again? How can an old person be born again? And Christ was very specific. That's saying that in order to see the kingdom of heaven, you have to be born again, born into the spirit. Flesh begets flesh, but spirit begets spirit. That sense of the water and the spirit that bring us into this new understanding of what it is to become a part of Christ and part of salvation. So that was him stressing that, and the slaves then took that on as, again, I said, it was sort of a double meaning with the spirituals that we have. I'm newborn again. It talks about freedom. So they're also expressing that, as well as their sense of understanding what the Gospels were, and they could put those into their lives and have some sense of hope and freedom within that. So this is Mark Hayes, Amazing Grace, and I'm newborn again, the Gospel of Grace. He's doing this on a Yamaha C7. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. are first I found free grace and dying love. I'm newborn again. Been a long time talking about my trials here below. Free grace, free grace, free grace, sinner. Free grace, I'm newborn again. So glad, I'm newborn again. Been a long time talking about my trials here below. My Savior died for you and me, I'm newborn again. Been a long time talking about my trials here below. I know my Lord has set me free, I'm newborn again. Been a long time talking about my trials here below. Free grace, sinner. Free grace, I'm newborn again. So glad, I'm newborn again. Been a long time talking about my trials here below. And we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. I'm newborn again. I'm newborn again. Yeah.
Should hear that from 2 feet away, people.
That's Mark Hayes playing the Gospel of Grace, and I'm newborn again. Oh my gosh, it's good stuff. So let's hope we can feel that grace throughout our times, and know that it is with us. You know, this is an amazing Sunday for us, and hopefully we can get to the other side in a good way. Right. So I'm gonna move on now to another piece that's very special. This is "You Raised Me Up," and Love and Wolf. They put together some fantastic words for the wonderful group that they had. And so a guy named Brian Kennedy started it out basically for this Secret Garden, the name of that duo there. Their lead singer, and made it at least a minor hit at the time, and then it went on, and it had 100 different recordings. Josh Groban is one that made it quite famous, and so we look at it, we think about the words. It's something I sang for my mother-in-law's funeral service. She requested that I sang that beforehand. Around, I did that, and that was the first time I became acquainted with it, and so it's very special to me. She was a very special lady, and it will always be quite special. So this is the very much, as I say, the words are very dear, very sympathetic, very inspiring. Somebody that raises you up, lifts you up to a higher level. Again, I think of those first responders, I think of the healthcare workers, people that, my gosh, they get back, home, and they got to throw their clothes off at the door, and then they can't touch anybody. They got to go and take a shower and whatnot. I mean, this is something you live with that, and the sense of empathy that we're trying to deal with is people are going through these difficult times more so than we are, and then our social distancing and trying to keep ourselves, well and well for other people. So, You Raise Me Up has that sense of dedication, gratitude. And anybody there, you have your own people that you think about. The parents. Again, this is Mother's Day, so you think about your parents and you think about your friends and those who can really help you to be strong. And that's what we're going through that. So this is You Raise Me Up. am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each troubled heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up than I can be. Amen.
Good Lord, love a duck. Okay, so just a second. So just a heads up. So what's happening different this week, you guys, as you're like taking a drink of a coffee or booze or crying or whatever. So Jonathan is overseeing the Facebook this week. And so I'm on the Instagram. So that's changed things a little bit. So I'm not seeing your notes on Facebook this week as much. So we're not apologetically interacting as much. So I don't really like this as much. Jonathan's happy. I think Natasha's happy. We have Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, West Coast. Katrina Thurman. So yeah, so there's a little bit less of me acknowledging. Sorry, we won't do this again, I don't think. It's helpful because I don't have to do as much, but I'm missing all your comments in live. So yes, so that's just if you're not hearing us interject as much, that's why. But yes, happy to have you all here and just that little update because it feels, if you've been here the last couple of weeks, that probably feels a little different than what we've done before. Yes. Cool. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
So, want to give a little shout out to all those companies again that I've been connected to. They're trying to make things happen here in Erie Philharmonic in Erie. We had a Beethoven night that had to be canceled April, and then again in June. So we're looking forward another time. Then that will happen. So we're really working hard. I believe I'm doing a master class this Tuesday for students at 7 o'clock Tuesday. Keep people look out for that on Facebook. That's a sort of contribution to that effort. The Philharmonic, we're trying to do that. And then at the Dorset Festival in the UK, they had to cancel Boris. They're coming this summer, supposed to do that. That was something that they're going to try to reschedule. So, they're trying to reschedule things, and that's really very, very uplifting, very helpful. And then the Lamennais in Brussels, doing a new opera, the time of our singing, and looking to try to do that maybe mid-September, but again, we could have to postpone that a little later. And these things happen. They're working to try to keep us safe. They're trying to bring this entertainment back, bring the spirit of music back. We're trying to somehow bridge that right now. In some ways, it's not always easy. Again, some people talk about the medium of what we're using now, YouTube and Instagram and Facebook Live. Well, is it as good as being there in the theater? No, nothing is going to be right as potent as impactful as being in the theater. But there are times when I've watched on YouTube and I thought, oh my gosh, this is something that's moving because you feel the spirit, you feel the energy there, and hopefully try to convey that as much as we can through the medium that we're using. Going on the shout out to Minnesota Orchestra. Hopefully Beethoven night they'll do there in November. I haven't heard any word on that, but by that time, hopefully, we're hoping things will work out. And then the new year, we're bringing opera company to Philadelphia, supposed to be Edward's Rex there, and then the Dallas Opera on Dallas Opera, we have an idea coming up, and hopefully that's going to be something to look forward to as well. And a lot of support again. Love to people at Dallas Opera started out with a program for them, so this is something I want to keep emphasizing and. Love all to you all. So again, this is now a piece we're going to move on to, which is very much reminiscent of that kind of universality. This is If We Only Have Love. This is Jacques Brel's wonderful piece that he put together in French that touched a lot of people at the time when it came out at a revival off Broadway, in the late 60s. That really brought it to the forefront. Jacques Brel is alive and well and living in Paris. That's this is from. And so it became quite popular. Again, people took it on 60s, 70s. We had Dionne Warwick recorded something. Johnny Mathis recorded editions of it. and with a translation sort of by Schumann and Blau. Their translation was not quite as spot on as Jacques Brel's French. He did the French and he did the music. And in his French, he starts out, which is in the French, quand on a que l'amour, when we only have love. And they started, if we only have love. I make a little transition into the when as we first start out, because Jacques had that sense of it is going to happen, when we are going to have love, when we're going to have it, as opposed to if we have love. So it's more definite. But the words that Schumann and Blau put together are incredibly profound, and in some ways more so than what Jacques has in the French. Except the end, I think, they talk about reaching for the stars, which is important. But Jacques had this sense of the monde entier, we'll hold the whole world in our hands. That sense of really embracement, and that brings me back to we are the world. That's that effort that we all have to bring together to try to solve this pandemic, these difficult times. So this is the if we only have love, we only have love. And I put it into 10 different languages for the refrain because I thought it was quite poignant to have that universality there. So we do have Quand on a que l'amour, we have Quando abbiamo l'amore for the Italians, we have Quando tenemos amor for Spanish, and we have some Greek, and we have some Latin and Hebrew, and Swahili, some other languages that seem to fit the climate of the text that was there. And so hopefully you enjoy that. This is Quand on a que l'amour, when we only have love, if we only have love. When we only have love, then tomorrow will dawn, and the days of our years will rise on that morn. Quand on a que l'amour, to embrace without fears, we will kiss with our eyes, we will sleep without tears. Quando abbiamo l'amore, with our arms open wide, then the young and the old will stand at our side. Quando nadie signor, love that's falling like rain, then the parched desert earth will grow green again. Cuando tenemos amor, for the hymn that we shout, for the song that we sing, then we'll have a way out. Venimos, we can reach those in pain, we can heal all our wounds, we can use our own names. When we haben nur Liebe, we can melt all the guns, and then give the new world to our daughters and sons. Cache jest la nueva, then Jerusalem stands, and then death has no shadow. There are no foreign lands. Where to see to knock and door, we will never bow down. We'll be tall as the pines, neither heroes nor clowns. O tale sciume moralapi, then we'll only be men, and we'll drink from the grail to be born once again. And with nothing at all, man, let's conquer those stars. Let's conquer them together and get this thing done. I wanted to now thank you for joining. And we said earlier, we hadn't planned for more than four sets of these. And now we're looking to the next week. We want to go forward and want to get your comments. Want to know how you feel about it. But certainly we'll give it a try and see how it goes. I know one of the pieces I want to do next week would be I Walk with God. And we'll sort of form things around that and see what else works well. So thank you for joining us. God bless you all. God love you. And stay safe, stay healthy, mind, body, and spirit. Thank you.